So I have something to tell you. We are all just characters in someone else's story. And I don't mean that in the you're not living your life to the fullest kind of way. I mean that literally we're all background characters in Alan Wake's story.
Back to the beginning. We all come to a story with hopes and expectations, looking for an answer. Sometimes it would be better to live with that hope without ever knowing the full story.
Now, obviously, I'm being facetious for drama's sake, but that's what The Return is. It is an all-encompassing story that covers all reality and all mediums. Scratch and the Dark Presence have specifically written The Return to spread. They don't need the story to finish. They just want it to spread. And it all starts with Bright Falls. And it slowly moves outwards until it consumes all of Alan's world. And the Dark Presence would have eventually found its way into our reality had we, the audience, not resonated with the ending that Alan and Saga had penned. If we didn't find the story believable or satisfying in some way, the Dark Presence would have just sent Alan down further into the spiral until he got it right. But we had to have believed the story.
This is how we win. Is it too easy? What if this is still the dark place? Another dream to wake up from, always coming back to the beginning. The memory of what came before burned away by this terrible realization. Maybe it's a mercy, forgetting. To know nothing when we loop around, back to the... It's not a loop. It's a spiral.
Alan Wake 2, and by proxy, The Return, won 11 awards and got 19 nominations, which set up the next phase of Alan Wake 2, which occurs during the New Game Plus cycle. Now, this new feature, granted, it's not a new feature, but for the game it was a new feature. It allowed us and Alan to end the spiral for good, seemingly, and pull Alan out of the spiral and the dark place, potentially reuniting Alan with Alice.
I chose to come back to the dark place. That is why I put on this exhibition. I had to mislead you, so that I could get you to where you needed to be. The only way out of your loop is destruction or ascension, light or dark. And we've covered the destruction part many times over. We're getting to the ascension bit by bit. Time means nothing here. You'll still need to go through the loop. But I will keep showing you the images you need to see. The light you need to see until you're ready. Alan, I think we're getting close.
And Alice, she's the real puppet master here. It is confirmed that she is the muse for Alan in every game. So here, she takes a more background role, but her hands are in everything. And I personally, I would consider her to be a ghostwriter to The Return. For, you know, she's setting Alan up. She's setting up all the pieces for Alan to be able to write his story. She's created the path for him to walk. she's setting up Alan at every turn to be where he needs to be in true muse fashion. It is just it's just beautiful, you know, their love and devotion for one another and their understanding of their roles in the relationship is just fantastic. And you know, Alice, she faked her own death to set in motion her plan to get Alan free from the dark place and destroy the dark presence. It's absolutely poetic that all the groundwork she had done and Alan and Saga are going to get all of the credit for all of her hard work. And it is just, you know, that's the life of a muse, I suppose. I've never been a muse, but I imagine that is the life of a muse. Spectacular.
Oh dear, I am a tourist, and it appears that I'm lost in the woods. We've only had a tour guide also. It's bear season. Oh no, a bear. Help. Did somebody call for a tour guide? Oh wow, Koskela Brothers Adventure Tours. Unforgettable tour experiences at affordable prices. That's right, I'm Milmo Koskela, voted best coffee roaster / tour guide by Coffee World magazine, and I'm here to give you a tour of a lifetime. But Ilmo, I've heard the government has seized and restricted access to many local nature attractions. That is true, Jaakko. Many local attractions have recently become fenced off by the government, and that's why at Koskela Brothers Adventure Tours we say, fuck the government. We have both cutters. Oh wow, you think of everything, and we'll take you anywhere.
Hiking through the scenic Elderwood National Park. Fishing in the crystal clear waters of Bright Falls Dam. Bird watching at majestic Mirror Peak.
A tour of a lifetime is just one phone call away. Book now to get a 9% discount on this limited edition Oh Dear Diner coffee thermos.
Now, Alan Wake 2 pays homage to some of the greatest horror ever made. And I mean, you're gonna hear this time and time again, how much Alan Wake is like Twin Peaks. And you know, when I'm trying to sell the game to my friends, I'm like, hey, you like Twin Peaks, you gotta play this game, dude. Just, you know, as an example. But Alan Wake draws from a lot more than just Twin Peaks. You know, there's X-Files. Mostly what's relevant is, you know, the mythology. You get a splash of Lost, a little bit of Fincher 7, and, you know, so much of Stephen King's work. And then so much more that, like, I probably am not familiar with. And there's just so much. Alan Wake, on top of being just a damn good horror game, is a love letter to the genre across all mediums. And I can't express how much I deeply appreciate that as a fan of the genre. Alan Wake 2 is a fantastic game. Of the three in the series, this one is by far the best, and it's not even close. It's easily the scariest in the series. The atmosphere and the sound design are just, God, it's so fantastic. It's spectacular. And the music, oh my fucking God, the music, dude. Listen to this shit.
So here is the clue. full of hope to remember visions they come true. Bend the light switch show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness, lost in the never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface.
There's a goddamn musical number in the middle of the game, and it is so good. Poets of the Fall knocked it out of the park. It made me love Poets of the Fall even more. That they were capable of this. Fantastic. Bravo. So I had initially set out to review this last year, not last year, 2023, when the game came out. But I decided to wait. I wanted to play all the DLC, and I'm glad I did. It's a game about story. What kind of reviewer would I be if I didn't do all the story all at once? I did it for Alan Wake 1 and American Nightmare. I could do it here for Alan Wake 2. And I did. And I played the game front to back twice, and all the DLC along the way, and just magnifique. Magnifique.
A fan. The dictionary definition of the word is an enthusiast, a fervent devotee, an abbreviation of fanatic. What comes across to an outsider as a dangerous obsession or even madness is something entirely different from the point of view of the fan herself. To be a fan is a joyous existence, one filled with the happiness that stems from knowing with utter clarity the purpose of your life. But what if that purpose could be more still? If you could be lifted out of the flock as your idol's chosen one, the only one who could decipher his secret messages. What lengths would you go to save the object of your obsession in Night Springs? Tonight's cult classic episode, number 1 fan.
You play as the one and only Rose Marigold, and it's just so campy from start to finish. And it reminded me a lot of stuff like Nukem High and the original Evil Dead. And it's so wacky, it's so brutal, and it is just fun. It is a love letter, in my opinion, to the campiest of horror films, and I loved every second of it.
Life's a funny thing. You spend all your time wishing and hoping and dreaming for something, and then, bam! Destiny shows up at your door like a mailman with a package you were pretty sure got lost because you ordered it like 6 months ago. But that's okay. When your destiny has eyes like sunsets and a beard like mahogany-colored velvet, you don't really mind how it arrives. But my day didn't start off with all that excitement. It began like any other day did. My accessories. everything a girl needed to claim victory in the battle for love. My trusty 12 gauge, fully automatic. Extreme circumstances call for extreme shotguns.
Night springs, like a killer on the run, yeah.
A young woman on a mission to save a missing loved one, desperately trying to stay one step ahead of the shadowy government agents hunting her. Agents from the very same agency that took the only person she cares about. On her quest, she is guided by her mysterious alien guardian angel. Her guiding star shows her the way, as it always has. She does not know what strangeness awaits her as she follows its unwavering light to the small town of Night Springs. Tonight's dreamlike episode, North Star.
This one is based off of Jesse Faden from Control and her hunt for her brother. It's not explicitly stated that it's Jesse and her brother, but it's Jesse's model, it's Jesse's character model. I'm pretty sure the same VA. I'm not entirely sure on that, but it's Jesse's model, and it's her brother's model, and it's Jesse looking for her brother. You get it. You get it. Anyway, Jesse, the sister, starts in Coffee World and eventually ends up in this underground government facility that uses coffee to brainwash people.
Dark Triangle Coffee is a fast-growing company with ambitions to sweep the nation and eventually the globe with our out-of-this-world beverages. Drawn by our coffee's distinctive flavor and our unique beans, people are rushing to join the Dark Triangle movement. The company's mission statement is simple. To drink the truth
There.
is to become
That's what we need.
one.
Password
Our
is
financial and
truth.
spiritual growth
Now
has
we
been
can-
accelerating at speeds previously
Hey,
unknown
what
to
is-
humanity.
Something is.
Soon everyone will
Something is. Oh, it's in my head. Please, you need to drink. No, please.
And she just continues to travel deeper and deeper until she finds her brother, and it's really cool. It's kind of trippy, the whole brainwashing coffee theme, but it's fun. It's so much fun. It's a nice like callback to, not even just a reference. It's a nice little callback to Control and its influence on current day Alan Wake.
We often look back and wonder, what if? What if the path not taken had in fact been our charted course? Would we be happier? Or are we, with our set of choices behind us, the lucky ones? And what if nothing would be different? What if, for some of us, our destiny across the endless number of versions of ourselves has been defined and locked beyond any causality of circumstance, beyond the forces in any one reality, but across all realities? For one man, the magnetic pull of destiny is so great it breaks time and space. We join this lone operative, many versions of him, in fact, as he chases his nemesis, a dangerous being known as the master of many worlds. Across the multiverse, across the many versions of a city that is always the same, yet always different. In Night Springs. Tonight's reality-bending episode, Timebreaker.
So this one is kind of a deep cut. In 2016, Remedy worked on a game and TV show featuring Shawn Ashmore, whom I love dearly, as the main character, Jack Joyce, who, from my understanding, had time-traveling powers and was trying to stop the end of the world using his time travel powers. Well, here, Shawn Ashmore plays himself and uses his newly discovered time travel powers to stop a different version of himself from murdering him. It's all really confusing, and it's time travel, and the confusion of it only gets worse as you play, because again, time travel is confusing. If you watch anything with time travel in it and it is fun and light and just quirky, it's wrong. Time travel is horrifying, it's confusing, it's disorienting. It is not a good thing. Time travel is horrifying. I mean, look, what was it? That one movie where the kid finds his dad's time machine. He goes back in time to like try to make his life better, and all his friends try to go have fun, and he ends up absolutely destroying all of his friends' lives, just in the most devastating fashion. I'm not talking about the butterfly effect. That's a whole other thing. But it's this other time travel. I forget the name of it. If you get this far and you know the name of the movie I'm talking about, where the teenagers, college kids end up in the dad's basement, find a time machine, finish it, travel in time, and go do all kinds of like quirky stuff, and stop like some really fucked up shit, but still manage to like make each other's lives just like so much worse, and then he goes back in time and kills himself, blah 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 blah. It is horrifying, one of my favorite time travel films of all time, because it is just it puts on full display the horror of time travel and how absolutely fucked that shit is. It's horrible. Anyway, this DLC, Timebreaker, is one of the most visually incredible. It is just, the developers and artists and everyone involved just went balls to the wall crazy. As you progress through the DLC, the type of game you're playing and the medium that you're experiencing the story on changes, and often in drastic ways. We start on the set of the film that Sean Ashmore is working on with Sam Lake, and then he and by proxy we are transported to the film or TV show that they're working on, and now we're experiencing that. Eventually he ends up in a goddamn comic, fucking the dot print and all. It's really just beautiful. Then at one point, a side-scrolling beat 'em up, a black and white noir film, and my favorite was the old school text-based adventure game that we get to play near the end of it. That was just, oh my god, it was absolutely mind-bending. I've never experienced anything like that ever in anything in gaming. The closest I've experienced to something like that would maybe be Stanley Parable. Probably Stanley Parable is probably the closest thing to what this ends up being in terms of like a game. It's everything. It's the everything game.
This shouldn't take long, okay? You see anything? Radio me.
This one kind of takes it back. It's closer to being like Resident Evil 2 than it is Alan Wake on a mechanical level. It feels like a different game. On top of that, it is absolutely brutal and beautiful. If you're familiar with Control at all, you're familiar with the brutalist architecture of the oldest house, and that is on full display here at the lake house, which is an extension of the oldest house, which is why it looks so drastically close to the old. Love it. Remedy just always knocking it out of the park, I swear.
Agent Estevez, what's your status?
Breach detected on sublevel 5. Staff should seek shelter immediately.
We have a situation in the lake house. All agents converge on the facility now.
So here in the lake house, you play as Kieran Estevez, who you meet her a little early on, but you really meet her about halfway through the game when you're playing as Saga. The police station in a siege, Saga saves the day, and then she tells Saga about, you know, the lake house and her experience with it, and then, you know, we play it as Kieran. So two FBC agents, officials, whatever, scientists, and once lovingly married couple, the Marmots, they found one of the pages from Alan Wake, and the page chronicled them destroying themselves and each other and just tearing their marriage apart. And they're like, how can this be true? Why would this be true? And then they make it true. Like, they go what almost feels like far out of their way to just torture each other as stated in the page. And they play right into Scratch and the Dark Presence's hand. They destroy themselves and they destroy everyone in the facility. They become they become taken. And there's also these really great like paint monsters. Those are terrifying. They just jump out of the painting and grab you by your throat and just dead. It's crazy. Oh, and Ed Booker's there. If you don't remember Ed Booker, he is from like the first 20 minutes of the game. You interview him and his girlfriend, or wife, I think, at the Oh Dear Diner, where you first meet Rose as Saga. Yeah, Ed Booker's there. He thinks he's on some kind of writer's retreat where he is trying to write like Alan Wake as part of an instructional program. It was kind of funny. It was a nice little bit of levity to how dark the DLC is.
Writing workshop.
Right. It's a government facility studying the power of creativity. That makes way more sense.
Look around you. How is this a workshop?
You have to stay in character. I get that. I'm in the theater business too. And look, the sets, the costumes, all great in that, you know, campy, 70s sci-fi kind of way. But you could dial down the role-playing like 15–20%. Just some professional advice.
What are you even doing? What are you writing?
Well, after you all abducted me in the woods, I've been working on this manuscript you gave me because you need it for some experiment or something. I kind of forget the premise. But, you know, I've had this block lately, and filling in the gaps of this story has really loosened me up. Copying the style is a nice constraint, but I still have lots of room to play. It's a solid creative exercise.
And the other cool bit I found was the painter in the lake house, which is kind of like what the story revolves around, is Rudolph Lane. And if you're not familiar with that name, Rudolph Lane is from Alan Wake 1. He was at Emil Hartman's retreat with Alan and Tor and Odin and all the other tortured artists that Emil, you know, was exploiting for their art to make money. And then Rudolph Lane just ends up going to another facility where they abuse him again. It sucks, but you know, he dies. His suffering is over. That's all we could ask for. I'm glad it's over for Lane. It really, that sucked. Anyway, if you are looking for a good horror game that really makes you think, consider Alan Wake 2. It can be purchased via Epic Games on PC and on PS5 and the Xbox Series. At this time, the game is still about $50, not including the DLC, which adds $10 to it. But for how much content there is and how much game there is, just it's really a steal. It's honestly, I usually don't advocate for buying brand new games at full price, but this is just fantastic. And if you're a fan of Control and have never played Alan Wake, please consider jumping in. The waters are warm, the waters are fine, and you will have a great time. And if you haven't played Alan Wake, play Alan Wake. And if you haven't played Control and you played Alan Wake, go play Control. They tie into each other. The whole Alan Wake trilogy is stupendous. Control is stupendous. I'm very excited for FBC Firebreak. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know what kind of game it's going to be other than it's going to be a multiplayer game based in the world of Control. Very exciting stuff. I'm very excited. I love everything Remedy does. Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes coming. I'm hype. I'm so hype. Anyway, I love Remedy games. That's it. That's the video. Slosh out.
Which a gift or a curse, a reality.